Welcome to the Summer Rewind, a Game Recognized Game podcast with RLJ and Kev, where we are rewinding back to some of our favorite moments from our previous season. Let's get it.
But when I opened it, I will say that the first chapter alone was the first chapter alone. I was like, I said, oh, and so right, I sent y'all a message like, hey, anybody start the book yet? I literally was on page 4 that night. I think I read all the way up to the second to last chapter. Because it was one of those where it was like, shit, I want to know what happens next, right? One thing that I did appreciate about it was how he would insert Dominican slang within it. So then I had to like, my Spanish is a little rusty. What's this mean? So then when I realized what it was, I was like, oh, it made a lot of sense. Who was your favorite character in the stories that he told?
Man, for me, I think I wish I had known it was a collection of short stories before I actually started reading it, because I was mad when the story ended. Like when the chapter ended and the story ended, I was like, gone. Oh, well, what happened? Like what happened? Like, and it kept happening throughout the book. And because it's a collection of short stories, I actually went back and did some research. All of these short stories actually showed up in the New Yorker. And so it's like a compilation of all of these short stories based on Dominican culture, the dating scene in New York, New Jersey area in the 90s. Like it was, and it made me, this is like one of the few times I wish I had a bigger experience growing up in like a major city. And not like a major city. I mean, like a real city, you know what I mean? Because there was so much culture within the book.
Yeah. And,
from the intricacies of how he was describing certain attributes of many of the women that he dealt with, and like some of the stuff that they were kind of talking about and going through in their own household. Like his brother was like the handsome one that was more Dominican because he had finer European features, when Junior wasn't that wasn't the case with him. So they were kind of weaving in all of these stories, and I identified with a lot of the stories, though I'm not Latinx and I didn't grow up with very many Puerto Ricans or Dominicans or Cubans or Mexicans. You know what I mean? So it was foreign to me, in 757 Virginia Beach, man, you're black, white, or maybe Filipino.
Yeah.
That was like the diversity that I had growing up. So hearing it and just hearing like the different flavor, and then recalling the first time I went to the Dominican Republic for the first time, and everybody, everywhere I went, they were speaking to me in Spanish because they thought I was Dominican. I'm like, nah, I'm Americano.
Homeboy.
Yeah,
but was a homeboy.
But so I identified because I was like, yo, it's something. It's just something in the culture that was very refreshing to me. And so when you talk about like favorite characters, I would say throughout the whole book, all of the different women described in the book had like a particular attribute. But I would probably say my favorite character was probably Rafa, the brother. Yeah, it was probably Rafa, the brother.
Rafa was a jerk, bro.
Yeah, he was like he was a wild dude, man.
He was a jerk.
But I had a level of sympathy for him, as he was dealing with his conditions and everything. And there was a very humane side of him. Like he was a jerk, but I also saw him as a person that was struggling with like his morality. Struggling with his morality and like trying to find his place where he never really had the start to have like this great life, if you will. I mean, they were brought to the United States after like not seeing their father for 5 years or something crazy like that. And then you kind of just dropped off in this urban area from the island, and you just told to deal with it. And he kind of
underdeveloped part of the island.
Exactly. And he kind of used his natural abilities to just figure it out. He was handsome. He was athletic. He had a gift for gab, a gift for hustling, and he kind of just fell in the lane. And I mean, it was like, what more do you expect when your father pulls like, yo, I'm going to the store for milk. I'll be back. and he's a no-go. So I think Rafa's probably my favorite character because he was a jerk, but I did see like a lot of the reasons why he was the way he was.
Sure.
I definitely reading this book, I was like, yeah, I need a Spanish Urban Dictionary because I've taken Spanish, but I'm like, some of these words I just don't know. And I even tried to look up thinking like, oh, okay, my it's gonna translate. Like I need this to go English. It was like, nah, we can't find the word that you're looking for. But in terms of the book and getting through the first part, some of the things that you all talked about, that first chapter, it definitely punched you like in the face. I mean, it just came out the gate. I said, oh, this is not what I thought this book was going to be about. And I want to say that first story was the strongest one, in my personal opinion, mainly because I feel like where we are right now, I can see myself going through that particular story. You know, traveling to Tulum, traveling to
Oh shit!
everybody in Tulum, like you know.
Oh shit!
And look, you know what I was thinking about? I don't know if you all have ever been on a vacation with someone that you're dating, and you're just not having a good time for whatever reason.
You know what? I've only been a few times with someone that I was involved with, and yeah, it ain't my thing, man. I think it's overrated. I'll be honest. Well,
I was gonna say,
and I see so many homeboys get like their relationships end. Like that's kind of like the test. If you could make it like an excursion, you get down to Jamaica like $1,000 round trip, hotel and everything included for two. That joint never makes it. It never makes it.
But what I'm saying, like, if it goes well, like, great, you have a good time. If it's not, it's like you stuck with somebody for a period of time, and it's like nowhere for you to go.
You paid for it.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like you in jail for a period of time. And no, I mean, like, because I've been on when you just like, yo, it's not working out. She may not be having a good time for whatever reason. You know, you already feel like you spent a ton of money. A lot of the things that he was talking about in that first kind of like chapter, I haven't experienced it personally because I was thinking about, was there a trip I felt like that? But I've seen other friends be in that. It's like day one, man, I'm ready to go. And we got 4 more days here.
So for me, I've been on vacations where that has happened. But this may sound bad to some people who are listening.
Hey,
but it doesn't matter. That's my business.
It's a safe space.
Hey man, no judgment on my part.
I've never paid for the other person to go.
I see what you're saying.
Right.
Me neither.
So see, if it's
a different feeling, man, when you stroke that check and it just don't turn out the way it's supposed to turn out.
Come on, the outcome didn't match the outlook.
I'm telling you, bro.
I understand.
It stings a little bit.
I understand, and I could see the potential there, but I always remove the potential of that happening to me. Whereas, if you pay for your trip, you gonna make the best out of it because it's your money. If I pay for your trip, if you're not having fun, you're gonna be like, I ain't pay for it. And so my thinking is, we're gonna plan this trip together. You're gonna have equal input, and you also gonna have equal costs. We're not married, so I'm not paying for your trip. And so I've seen individuals similar to what was outlined in the story, and I'm just like, that's tough, bro. Right?
Hey, man, you want an all-inclusive resort, and ain't no way you could go, and you stuck with somebody who don't want to be there. God bless that brother.
And for real. And I think, like, listening to some of the stories, bro, I think that anyone that doesn't want to be somewhere, they are like intentionally an asshole about it.
Exactly.
It's like, all right, cool. What you wanna do? Well, I mean, I want to eat. I want to go get something to eat because I'm hungry.
Right.
And it's like, where all that heat come from? Just, well, let's go to dinner. And then you get dressed up because, you know, we at this resort, and then you put on sweats like you about to go check the mailbox in the college dorm. What is you doing?
Man.
And that,
I'm gonna just grab something and I'm gonna come back to the room.
That exactly right there is my point. It's like, bro, to me, it ain't even about the money. It's like you're with somebody and y'all in the same hotel room. You know, y'all have a flight for a certain, like you can't even switch this flight. It's gonna be so much money. It's like you got to deal with that the whole time, and it can just be a headache because to your point, you making everything just like difficult. It's like why I got to be all that? Like why we just can't enjoy this trip, even if it's not gonna work out.
Or better yet, right? I've been on trips with people, and there was a couple that was with us. And like every time I think about going back there, I laugh and I'm just like, I'll find somewhere else to go. It got to the point where I had to intervene. I said, hey, check this out. This morning, you're going to do your own thing and you're going to see us at dinner at 7:00. You're going to do your own thing and you're going to meet me here at 6:30 so we can wait on them together. Break. I said, don't call each other. Don't text each other. Don't even get on social media finding out if the other person is posting. Just go do your thing. And dinner was a pleasant thing. I said, because y'all messed up my trip, and I'm fighting.
Too much though, brother Jay. That's too much. I don't even hang out with people that's like always complaining at a restaurant. Like I stopped hanging out with a few women because like any restaurant you go to, they know everything and want to be like the smarty yacht nigga, man, and just piss everybody off. Ain't nothing ever fast enough. But somehow, some way you got an opinion, but you ain't never paying for nothing though. Like I'm like, nah, I'm done, man. So I felt bad for the brother. Like this, the title of the book is like, this is how you lose her, but it could have been, this is how you chase that nigga away.
Hey,
for real.
Especially in that first chapter.
Yo, some of the behavior from some of these women in this book, man, that just like, hey, take two to tango. That's what I'm saying. Like some shit, I was like, well, yo, he was out of pocket. Right. But a lot of that shit, yeah, it's room for interpretation.
It was 50-50.
Yeah.
But I'll say in terms of the character who I probably like the most, one of the things that I noticed within the stories, the author did give you enough information about the woman in that particular chapter or story. Mm-hmm. But in some regard, it was just enough. It was just like a snippet. And I feel like it was just room to know more about him. Obviously, the main character, we knew a lot about him, but I guess to come to the conclusion of which one would be like a favorite, I'm just like, it was so many characters in here that I had a good, it's almost like not even a resume. It's almost like you had a cover letter and you like, okay, this is interesting, but what's behind this? So I don't know, for me, I just wasn't able to say, yo, this was my favorite character. I would probably say let's go with most memorable. Most memorable character for me, I probably got to say Rafa, just because he was an idiot. Obviously he was dealing with health condition, but outside of that, he still was like, I feel like that older brother, older cousin who everybody thought they were super cool, but he was just an a-hole to people, in terms of with his own little brothers, like, shut up, do this. I just felt like
he hit him in the eye. He hit him in the eye with the damn padlock.
Yeah, but he told him he was gonna get him back, and he did what he said he was gonna do. But I think he was the most memorable character for me.
In that scene, he probably wouldn't have made it to the cause of death that happened.
Oh yeah, man, it would have ended
a lot sooner.
It would have been on, man. Probably that, and when he was breaking in, stealing the mother's money too. It's like that, yeah. Like I get it, you sick and everything, but you went and did your thing with Pura.
The TV and the bed.
No. And the car too. I'm like, yo, how do you get how you a pimp all your life, but then you get hustled with the last one you was with?
Yeah,
and stealing money every week.
Dude, come on,
and
man.
the mom being okay with it. But I thought that behavior from her was typical for firstborns and mothers. I feel like they always. I mean, I'm a firstborn, so. but your mom always gonna do a little extra for you, or allow you probably to get away with a bit more. In fact, I wasn't even surprised when she said, "That's enough. You can't come in this house anymore." Quick little story. If my siblings was on this call, they would definitely be like, "Yeah, you know, he the favorite. She do so much." I feel like my mom do a lot for my siblings. But I remember one day growing up, my mom used to get mad at my siblings so often. One day my mom got mad at me like one time. I think she asked me to do something. I was just like, man, whatever. Like, and I walked away. My mom like literally threw something at me. I was in the hospital 5 minutes later. Like, story of my life. Like, and I won't get into, but yeah, at the hospital, just kitchen knife at my face, blocked it. Like Mortal Kombat.
you was bold. You probably should have just took it.
Motherfucker Sub-Zero and shit. He's Sub-Zero, able to freeze knives coming at his head.
Get that out of here.
Cousin Jeff is Sub-Zero.
But yeah.
We'll talk about that later so you can process and heal.
Yeah, man. We might need to send a wellness check over to you, bro.
I'm still healing.
Still healing. That's all right. Walking your healing, bro.
Thank you.
Hope Dylan, I see what you did. I think for me, I had a couple. Of course, Junior was like memorable for me, but I appreciated the character development of him. Like really going through the experiences that he was going through. The author had a way of setting the scene to where you could like somewhat experience it. So like when he talked about like the pain of the moment, like chest got a little tight. I was like, damn, bro, this is tough. Elvis was probably one of my favorite characters as well.
Yo, Elvis was turned up, man. He was a no limit soldier for real.
Yeah. But then he had a weak spot when he shouldn't have. He had an Achilles tendon.
Mm-hmm.
Heel, sorry. Achilles heel? Is it the heel?
Oh, it's a tendon, but yeah, it's the heel, but yeah, it's still a tendon, yeah.
You knew what the
I was picking up what you was putting down.
Yeah, he had an Achilles area. And
not an area. Why does that sound hilarious? An Achilles area.
And that was very detrimental to his psyche. So much so, I think, because like in that for that particular example, I think his ego was so damaged to where he had to form that hard outer shell. Like, I'm changing my phone number, email address, I'm calling her, cussing her out, telling her not to contact me anymore. But he still had a piece of humanity inside of him and concern for her. And I think it was like, well, shit, we saw what they was doing. We saw how they was living. And I just left him. And I could have, even if I wasn't the biological father, I could have helped him. And so
the kid has his name though, G. The kid's name was Elvis Jr.
Like, yeah, I got a son. And I was like, whoa.
Yo, that's what messed me up. That messed me up, man. I was like, oh, so it's not your biological, but he has your name. Like, yo, that's not a predicament I would want to be in, man.
No, not at all. Not at all. So overall, like, what was let's do this first. What was something in the book that you wish you didn't read? Like, what was something that you were like, he could have left this out? If anything.
In the last chapter, I like the progression over the 5 years or so. Like, I'm glad he put it in there. He was just really talking about his body breaking down.
Mhm.
You know, like Father Time waits for no man, but it's crazy because he was also, not only was his body breaking down, but he was regretting a lot of the decisions that he made when he was kind of in perfect health.
Mhm.
And so I wish that they had teased out a little more around you know, what he felt about like his mortality.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because you know he was a fitness person for most of the book. You know, the one girlfriend that painted him showed he wanted to make sure his muscles was defined in the painting or whatever. And so he's always kind of been like this athlete guy who works out. And then when his body's breaking down, they really didn't talk about like how that impacted him or how that could have impacted his relationships. Like the young girl, the Harvard Law School student that that ran a hustle on him. Like, yo, did she leave him because he was older and she, you know, was more realistic to go with somebody young, or did she leave him because like, yo, you was an old dude now because your body's breaking down?
To continue listening to Bourbon and Books, This Is How You Lose Her, check out season 3, episode 30 of the Game Recognized Game podcast with RLJ and Kev, available on all streaming platforms. Stay cool and be light.